Okay, let's do a little activity here. Reed Hastings, who is the founder of Netflix, he wrote this book called No Rules Rules, and in there he talks about various scenarios, and I turned this into a little activity here. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of scenarios that Reed Hastings has mentioned in his book, and I'm going to ask you what would you do in these situations. Okay, so and then I'll give you the answers that Hastings gave. Okay, so the first one's here. So you're the owner of a startup company, it's going public next week, and you've always been open and transparent and shared your numbers with staff, but now if you share it and one of your staff members leaks some of the details, then the stock could crash, your IPO doesn't go ahead, and in fact it could have very severe consequences on their staff member. So what will you do? I'm going to ask you, just type in the chat, what would you do in that situation if this was your organization? Let's see what people are saying. Roger says share. Fran says the opposite, don't share. Ashlyn says high level summary. Ian Wee says communicate honestly. Sophie says if you've always shared, keep doing it. Amelia, oh, good to see Amelia. I didn't see you at the start. Snuck in on one of the back seats. Share and warn of consequences. Ray says depends how much you trust your staff. Okay, good. Okay, thanks everyone. Okay, scenario 2, I'll give you the answers after we go through all 3 of them. The second one's this. So you've had an organizational restructure, and this one could actually risk some people losing their jobs. Okay, but it's not sure. It's not definitely going to happen. There's only 50% chance it will happen. So this is a simple yes and no question. Will you tell your team now? That's the question I'm asking. Right? Even though there's some uncertainty about whether they lose their jobs, will you tell your team now? Okay, so most people say yes, or the majority of people say yes. Okay, let's go to the third one. Okay, so you, as a leader, have hired and fired 5 people in the last 5 years, managers, so you're a senior leader, and then you realize, well, you've done some self-reflection, and you're self-aware enough to realize that this was all due to your poor judgment. Okay, do you admit this to the rest of your team? Okay, let me put up our poll counter again. Okay, here's almost 100% yes. It is 100% yes. You go, mea culpa, my fault. I take responsibility for this. Sorry, folks. Okay, that's what they're asking. All right, let's see what Reed Hastings said. So the first one, you start a company's going public. Are you willing to still share the numbers despite the risk? And he says, yes, you do. You trust them. So he would. This is what he would do. You've got this restructure that could mean people lose their jobs. Do you tell them and risk losing some of your best people because they're looking elsewhere? Or do you wait and not stress them out? That's the positive of both of them. And he goes, yeah, you trust them. You tell them, treat them like adults and explain. I think some people said here, explain the context around it and the uncertainty, but let them make up their minds based on the knowledge that you've got. Okay, so you give them the information. Similarly for this, he goes, yeah, you trust them. You tell them, I made a mistake and I'll own up to it and I'm giving you the information now. Right? And he's right, exactly what Henry said. Treat them like adults. Okay, so in all 3 cases, Reed Hastings goes, it's not only about trust, but you have to give them the information and then trust them to use it appropriately.